Hello and welcome to this edition of Full Circle, brought to you by South Central Louisiana Human Services Authority. I'm your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker. Very glad to be joined by my friend and colleague, Ms. Leilani Brunet. Thanks for joining us once again.
Good to be back again.
I
Thank
like it.
you.
I like it. Of course, Leilani's an RN and program manager over at South Central, but it's a very important month. Let's talk about what's so special about this month.
September is Recovery Month.
Yep.
And so we're going to be taking part in making sure we get that message out. We want to encourage any individual listening to this that's living the life of recovery, and just encourage them to keep up those efforts. It actually started in 1989 was the first time it started. And it's actually a way to celebrate the triumphs of those that are actually in recovery. So we're really excited about that.
Yeah, and look, so many of those have affected our area, so many different issues and
Yeah.
deaths in our area. And so it's why this is so very important.
It is important. I mean, statistically, we see that about 21 million Americans have at least one addiction, but only 10% of them are actually receiving treatment. So that's very concerning. And we want to normalize this. We don't want to have that stigma anymore. We want to do whatever we can do to get rid of that stigma and encourage, if you're listening to us right now and you're in recovery, congratulations, keep it up, and encourage those around you.
Yeah, and it's no different than any other illness. It really isn't. It's like cardiac disease or diabetes,
It is a
whatever it is
disease.
that we need to get help for.
That's
And that's what y'all
absolutely
are here
right.
for.
That's absolutely right. And we need to also recognize that financially it's costing us, the U.S. economy, over $600 billion a year. When you put all the different types of things together, it's quite expensive in that route as well. But for that individual, ultimately, we need to see them be able to get to that optimum level of wellness for themselves.
And so we also see some of those comorbidities where we see them dealing with more than just the addiction, right?
Well, very often you're going to have somebody that's going to have addiction and another co-occurring mental health diagnosis. So yeah, very often that's the case.
Right.
Yes.
We want to do that. Now, who sponsors this?
Okay, so it's sponsored by, we call it SAMHSA, but it stands for the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. And it's
Okay.
an agency in the United States that's with the Department of Health and Human Services. And they're actually responsible for leading and innovating behavioral health practices throughout the nation.
Yeah, and so it's great to have one of those national organizations supporting
Oh,
what we do through our community,
yes, that's
right?
right. And this is what they do. And this is one of their big initiatives is
Right.
Recovery Month.
And so it's one of those things where we see people who are having these issues with drinking. We want to address that. And 90% of those people with addiction started when it was very young.
That's what individuals may not know. The
Right.
younger you start a substance, the higher the likelihood it becomes an addiction. It's
Right.
very good to wait as long as you can wait, especially the frontal lobe develops fully by the age of 26.
Right.
Ideally, that would be the best time to start like casual
Right.
drinking and stuff. People don't
Introducing
very
it to your
often, but
system.
you decrease the likelihood the longer you can wait.
Right. Really, really smart. So let's talk about the recovery month. We got a new theme, right?
We do. Every year there's a new theme. And
Okay.
this year, I like it this year. It's join the Voices for Recovery. Together we are stronger. And because we know it takes a support team, it takes a support network, everybody to face the challenges of finally getting sober. And so we're looking at the individual, the family, the loved ones, everybody in that person's circle, including their coworkers. And this year, we have a special appreciation and a special focus
Okay.
on first responders, our
Wow.
law enforcement, our firefighters, our healthcare workers, community leaders. They really take the lion's share of a lot of this. It's very, how could I say, it produces compassion fatigue after a while because it's such a huge task. It's such a large problem that we have in our area. So we want to recognize all of our first responders through this particular theme.
Well, and very often you and I are the ones that get those phone calls, but we also have our community leaders who are trying to help
They are.
other people with addiction.
That's right.
So what's some of the benefits? Let's talk about the benefits of the National Recovery Month.
Benefit is having this awareness is going to raise greater awareness, which helps reduce the stigma. And we want to get rid of the stigma, so
Right.
that awareness helps reduce the stigma. And the ones who take part would be like addiction treatment facilities, programs like Celebrate Recovery, and those that are successfully completing the treatment programs themselves. So individuals and their loved ones can take part. And the biggest benefit of this is that the general public is going to gain greater and greater knowledge and greater and greater awareness. And so the more you can generate conversations and get these types of things out there, it does start to decrease that stigma. So that's a very positive thing.
Yeah, and more so than just what you hear from AA and NA, we want to make sure that we're celebrating all of the challenges and changes that people are making. Because, for those people that have really been able to stick to their recovery, it truly takes a village, a community to be able to do that.
And it's ongoing. It's for the rest of their life.
Right,
You
right.
never ever say the word, I have recovered.
No.
Like a diabetic would not say, look how well I'm doing. I've recovered. I no longer need my insulin.
Right.
It's going to be something that you live out the rest of your life. And so yeah, it's a very positive thing when you can have that network of people around you supporting you and understand that disease.
So let's talk about specifically what's happening through South Central.
Oh,
Because
okay.
you guys take these kinds of programs and you make it your own and really make it something that people can see and celebrate with you.
Yes, and we want to be one of those voices that is joining in this. And so throughout the month of September, we're going to wear these little stickers.
Right.
This on this side.
Yeah.
We're going to wear this.
Right.
Ask me why I'm wearing purple. We're going to have a
Right.
purple shirt on throughout the month, different days. And individuals are going to ask why we're wearing that. And we get to generate active conversations about recovery, about the benefit of the Recovery Month. And we also going to have our outreach team that we're going to go into different the different recovery centers throughout Region 3 and provide gift bags to those who are actually working a recovery program to support them, to encourage them, to acknowledge their efforts. And so that's what we're doing. And at some point, we want to show a documentary. We'll have more about that later. I won't say much about
Right,
that today.
okay.
It's called Tipping the Scale. And we'll give y'all that information whenever we have that ready for
Yeah,
you.
just a little hint, tipping the scale, it's coming. So I just want to let y'all know.
Yes.
Well, thank you so very much.
You're
I appreciate the
welcome.
fact that South Central is always focused on something positive.
Thank
Helping
you.
people be able to figure out what to do and how to do it. We'll get our stickers.
Yes,
we'll
you'll get
let
some
people ask us
stickers.
why
Yes.
we're wearing purple, and we'll do all that together.
We appreciate y'all so much. Thank you
All
for
right,
having us.
very good. All right, guys, that'll do it for this particular segment of Full Circle. Don't go anywhere. A lot more local programming right here on HTV.